The request by the Foreign Office, believed to be the first time in decades that a French ambassador has been summoned by Britain, given that it's one of the UK's closest allies. Now, as we mentioned, the dispute is centring around these licences, which are given to vessels if they can demonstrate a history of fishing in British waters. Currently, 171 vessels have been licensed to fish in the UK, of which 103 are French. The French ambassador, as we mentioned, has been summoned to the Foreign Office for a formal rebuke following that dispute.
Well, joining us now, Catherine Colonna, France's top diplomat in London, is going to be called in on Friday. I think, lots of people, the papers particularly, are saying this is sort of rapidly escalating row with Paris over our post-Brexit fishing rights. And government sources said they believed it was the first time in decades that a French ambassador had been summoned. Well, to explain why things have escalated, we're joined by Peter Allen, our correspondent in Paris. Can you just explain to us now the French motivations? They're upset.
Well, they're certainly upset. As far as this incident on Wednesday is concerned, that's when it started. A French fishery protection vessel, the Athos, was sent out effectively to check on licences. It's the height of the scallop season at the moment in the Bay of the Seine, and that's a hugely important industry for local fishermen, especially local fishermen who can no longer fish in British waters. They rely on this scallop season to make their money, especially after a very, very difficult time during the pandemic, when they've not been able to get their boats out to sea. And what happened was the fishery protection vessel found problems with two British boats, one which initially didn't cooperate with the French. That got a verbal warning and a fine, was allowed to steam back to Britain. But this other boat, the Cornelis Gert Jeanne, it was found effectively, go right to the root problem, not to have a licence. And that's why it was held in Le Havre. My understanding is that the British boat is still in Le Havre and is facing fines, rather large fines. Prosecutors told me yesterday it could face a fine of up to €75,000. So the French would argue that the British have made all this bureaucracy, all this checking necessary. Britain has, of course, left the EU, and Britain is getting what it deserves. The argument would be that the French are standing up for French workers. French fishermen are revered across France. There isn't a huge number of them, about 80,000. But a lot of them in northern France. The largest fishing port, Boulogne, is of course full of fishermen, and this is what you get following Brexit. That would really be the French argument. I think that would be a fair way of putting it.
The French are saying, Peter, that they haven't been given the number of fishing licences that they were expecting, but we're hearing that 171 vessels have been licensed to fish in the UK, of which 103 are French. How many more licences are the French expecting?
Well, again, as you state there, Paul, we're dealing with very, very small numbers, and consequently, the small numbers who haven't received licences, and that figure seems to change all the time, but there is obviously a genuine grievance amongst a small number of boats. My understanding is that these are mainly small boats, that is to say less than 12 metres, and the real problem is they're not fitted with the kind of technology which is essential to the new regime, the new Brexit project, that is to say technology that can work out where they've been, where they are, obviously in relation to the British Isles. And if that technology isn't there, the licenses aren't being granted, and these smaller boats, which are obviously going to tend to be rather low-income boats, but they're also boats that have been plying the same waters for generations. A lot of the fishermen, and of course they're women who fish as well, are the sons and daughters of fishermen who've been plying in European waters for generations, and they're very upset that they now need this technology. It's expensive, they haven't got it in order, they're not getting their licenses, and again, this would be the French argument. Paul.
We're seeing now threats from the French, but also from Britain as well. How do you see this developing, and do you think either party would actually carry through with the things they've said they might?
I think they will, Rosie. I think that certainly the French workers have a reputation for really pushing their rights, often in a very radical fashion. This is France. This is a country built on revolution. This is a country built on street protest. And if the anger is there and the passion is there, they will get out onto the street. And French governments tend to support their workers in these circumstances as far as they can, and of course within the law. We see that the French security services, let's put it in those stark terms, the gendarmerie, are out patrolling on behalf of French fishermen. Now, the French ministers have indicated that pressure will be stepped up this Tuesday, and that will include increased customs checks at all the major ports. There may well be a ban on some British seafood products coming into France. We're also seeing extremely radical language from French ministers. There have been threats to cut off electricity to the Channel Islands, to Jersey and Guernsey. The French can do that because they're undersea cables running from Normandy. But this is very, very strong language. And yes, the passions are there, the anger is there. And there's absolutely no reason why some of these threats won't be followed through. I personally don't think the electricity will be cut off the Channel Islands. But I think some of the lesser measures will be taken. And again, it's all in response to a new Brexit regime that many French people absolutely detest. And so I think the next few days could be crucial. Hence the French ambassador going to the Foreign Office and trying to sort these matters out. Catherine Colonna is a very experienced diplomat and a very calm diplomat, and one would hope that bringing this dispute to formal diplomatic channels might improve matters and move it away from the kind of stark
being calm is certainly what the Fisheries Minister is hoping for. George Eustice yesterday told MPs remain calm in that emergency statement. Peter, thank you very much for giving us the update there.